I'm really not that keen on using paint.
Why's that then, Tara?
Well, they can be messy and also they can be a pain to take out with you.
So what do you prefer to use?
I love using watercolour brush pens. They're really, really punchy and great to use in your sketchbook. I've got a couple of types. I've got Stationery Island ones here and Cure Take Clean Colour. My favourites are the Stationery Island purely because they have a broader nib on them. And for me, I just like that broadness. But if you like doing fine, intricate work, Cure Take might be the ones for you. They're great in sketchbooks, but I don't believe they're light fast. So if you want something that is more light fast, that's still in kind of a marker type form, these from Winsor & Newton are supposed to be proper watercolour in those. I'm not as keen as the brush pens, but they're still pretty good. I find they work really well on mixed media paper. I like either Canson Imagine or Clairefontaine. They'd also work well on a smooth watercolour paper. If you're going to use them on something like a cartridge paper, just test a bit out first, because I found that on some papers they don't blend that well.
So I can see that you've already indicated your drawing. Is that just a light pencil drawing underneath?
Yeah, it's just a light pencil drawing. I haven't shown that because it's so light you couldn't really see. But then I've started with the lightest colour that was in the parrot, that was the yellow, because I thought I don't want to make it dirty by starting with black and then working on top of there. Now I'm adding some orange, just sort of to get that variance in colour. And what's nice about this is when you add water later, you can leave some of those marks. So I've given sort of real marks where the feathers are, but you can blur some of that in with a watercolour effect. Okay, now I'm adding a bit of shadow with a bit of black. And I know people usually say don't use black, but when you've got a minimal colour set like this, you really do have to. And I'm only using a few pens here. I think I had about 10 or something like that. Now I'm putting a bit of the grey around the face. And say at the moment it all looks quite separate, but that will change once I add the water.
And you're going to wait till the very end to do that?
Yes. I mean, you can go back on top of it, obviously, if you want to find some extra bits, but I didn't in this case. So I'm putting a bit of shadow on the beak, but then I like to add in a few bits of extra colour that you'll see in a minute.
And it's nice that with these brush pens you can make really thick lines and really thin ones as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I really do love these. They're so sort of versatile.
Great for fur and feathers and things.
Yeah. So now, like I said, I'm adding a bit of purple in and tiny little flecks of orange just to create a bit more interest in there. And I'm looking at the photo and there's kind of different tones and things in there.
Fabulous green.
Yeah, I love that green. So you add in the green for the feathers at the top and keeping everything really, really loose. Again, you know I'm not one for detail, so all these feathers are very, very simple.
It's really coming together really quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I can't remember how long I spent. It's quite a long time for me, actually, this one. So this might have even been sort of 40 minutes, which is like forever for me.
40 minutes, yeah. No, it's for you. But 40 minutes well spent. I bet you got lost in it, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, here I'm adding some purple over the green because I'm using that as a sort of shadow effect. And of course, once you put the water on there, that really blends those two together.
Yeah.
And adding a few darks in on the feathers. I think when you haven't got too many colours as well, it kind of pulls everything together.
Yeah, sometimes less is more, isn't it?
Yeah. So you can see here, when I've just put that bit at the front, the bit of water, that's really blended that black into the green to go and make the shadows.
And that's the water brush that came with your set, is that right?
I think this one did, or it might be another one, but definitely one comes with these Stationery Island brush pens.
Yeah.
And I really like this. I've shown earlier on, I've shown the two types of pens that I've got that I use.
Yeah. And you're missing out some of it. You're just putting in water where you want a softer effect. Is that right?
Yeah, I want to show some of the flecks to give that impression of feathers. I think what really helps here is in a minute I'll put some tone, there we go, into the beak. And I think that really pulls it together, kind of making that a much darker area.
Yeah. And you can presumably just keep going over again with pens if you wanted to and just build the layers. Is that right?
Yeah, if you wanted to, you could darken that up. Obviously, you will lift, what you might have put down previously.
Yeah.
So I don't like to go too mad. But
It's fantastic.
Yes, thank you. Watercolour brush pens. They're really fun to use and they're a lot less messy than paint.
Why not check out our previous videos and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss your Art Kick Sunday. Meanwhile, you can check out our podcast and find the creative challenges we have coming up at www.kickinthecreatives.com. Back soon.